Wonder if this video will get 1,000 views as well, eventually, maybe one day. But I'm not in it for the views, I'm just doing it for a laugh. So, but you know, if someone did want to sponsor me, I wouldn't say no. It is absolutely super rich and delectable, and it's, you know, it's the best chili con carne out there, really, if you ask me. I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna put that. We all live on the other side, man. Where's that come from? A couple of bay leaves. Should have some nice. Shh. Thank you. I'm gonna go with a splash of oil. Ah. There we go. Fix anything, mate. But yeah, that's doing nothing. That's just dancing around. I'm gonna have to break this up a little bit by hand. Sorry about that. That noise was horrible. Bonjour. Right, so I've been doing this about 2 years. I think I've got some videos up on YouTube that are a bit older than that, like time lapses of the night sky and things like that. But the cooking stuff kind of mostly started doing during when lockdown started. So coming up on 2 years, from January. Started in not last March, March before. Right early on, I did a video did a video really early on cooking chili con carne. I call it like the greatest chili con carne recipe ever. I named it that, I ain't gonna lie. Clickbait title to get people in to view the video. Is it the greatest chili con carne recipe in the world? No. I think it's a solid recipe. It's quite a fussy recipe. There's loads of random odds and ends in there. But it's quite quick and it is quite simple. Did this just turn itself off? Oh, God. But, long story short, that is my most viewed video, and it is fast careening towards 1,000 views, which in the grand scheme of things isn't much. Since most of my videos have views in the tens, I've got that video and a video about kitchen equipment, the knives video. So that video is about to hit 1,000 views. So I thought I'd go back 2 years later, in celebration of 1,000 views, getting a video that's got 1,000 views. And not redo it, but do a different one. So that chili con carne recipe stands. It's a good midweek meal chili con carne recipe. This one though, is the one that I do when I'm doing a proper chili. And I'm gonna cook it for hours. So this one's gonna take 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, or as long as you want, really. We use a few different meats instead of just the mince meat that I used in the last one. I've got beef mince and I've got beef shin. Now, like I said, I'm trying to go to the butcher's a bit more often. My butcher's been closed over Christmas. Deservedly so. You can take some time off, so I had to go to the supermarket. Got a mix of mincemeat and beef shin. Usually when I do this, I tend to just go all beef shin, stewing steak, brisket, you know, big, chunky, slow cook beef meats. But there's just no choice out there at the moment. There's sod all on the shelves. There was another pack of beef shins that the date was the day I was buying it. I knew I wouldn't be able to cook it. I got some mince as well, but not a problem. Like, kind of like a proper ragu that cooks for hours. That's gonna like just turn into meat sauce, and then we're gonna have chunks of beef in there. The only vegetation in there is going to be some onions. Oh, and some garlic. Where's my garlic? Loads of garlic. Load of garlic and our beef. First things first, we're going to make... So I've got another video. I'll put a link here. If I can put more than one link up. Homemade chili powder, which I still live by. That is still my go-to chili powder. But for the sake of brevity, we're going to just make a chili powder that we're just going to... A single dose that we're going to cook in this. I've got a few dried chilies here. These are chipotles. These are chili de arbol. Normally, I like to use a couple of different chilies. Well, more than a couple of just different dried chilies. I like to go with ancho chilies. Managed to find dried ancho chili flakes. Couldn't find any other dried chilies. I should have planned a bit further ahead. Should have ordered some in. If you go online, you can find loads of places that sell good quality dried chilies these days. These are chilies de arbol. These are going to add a load of heat. These are chipotle chilies, which are going to add a fair bit of heat, but also a bit of smokiness. There's loads of other dried chilies. I think in my chili powder recipe, I used cascabeles and anchos, but guajilos. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but experiment, find the ones you like. These last forever. They're dried, last forever in the cupboard. So yeah. So what we're gonna do with these though is a little bit of preparation. So I'm only gonna use 2 of these bad boys because they are super spicy. Cut the tops off and get the seeds out, because as I've gone over multiple times, seeds has a load of heat. They also just be a bit bitter and a bit grainy. You can quite readily find chipotle chili flakes or crushed chipotle chilies. If you want to use them, go with it. If I could only use the one chili, I'd probably go with chipotle because I do really like the sweet, almost sticky smokiness of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to toast these off a bit to begin with, just to open them up a bit, add a bit of space. So I'm just going to chop them up a little bit into there. Along with those, we're also going to toast off, I want to say about maybe just under a teaspoon of these ancho chili flakes. Anchos are a bit fruity, jammy, but there's still a fair bit of heat there as well. We're also at the same time going to do about a tablespoon of cumin seeds, which is a must for any chili con carne, as well as a bit less of the coriander seeds. I'm going to say maybe a heaped half a teaspoon, if that's a measurement, which obviously it isn't. And I only want, that's quite a small one, a smallish cinnamon stick. So with toasted spices before, you know what you're looking for. Don't want to burn them, just want to toast them off, get them smelling a bit fragrant. But as always, they will burn very easily. So you just want to keep an eye on them, but wake them up a bit. Right, so once they're all nice and fragrant and roasty and toasty, I'm going to put the cinnamon in there first. We're going to powder this up, blend it up. This is a coffee grinder that I just use for spices. If you haven't got one of these, use a pestle and mortar. If you haven't got pestle and mortar, get a pestle and mortar. It's really handy. I'm just going to pre-buzz the cinnamon. And I'm going with all the rest of this stuff. Right, we've got that in there, and we're also going to go in there with about a teaspoon, no, but 2 teaspoons of onion granules, or onion powder. Same of garlic powder, garlic granules. Same of smoked paprika. And this is sweet. If you want to go for the spicy, you can. But you're already getting loads of heat from those chilies, so I wouldn't bother. Go with the sweet, add a bit of variation to the flavour. And about a tablespoon of oregano, dried. Now obviously the oregano, the paprika and the garlic and onion granules powder are already powdered and ground up. So if you're doing this with a mortar and pestle, you don't need to worry about putting them in there. I'm only putting them in here just to equally disperse and get everything about the same sort of size. So I'm going to mix that up as well. Right, once you're happy that that's all finely sieved and ground, that can go to one side. We can leave that for a while. Where we're going to start is we're going to be making this in our trusty, she's showing her age a bit now, she's all a bit stained and marred up, but she's still going strong. Our big cast iron casserole dish, but we're going to brown this meat off first. Glug of oil in there, glug of oil in there. You can do it all in the one pan, do it in batches. I'm just going to use a frying pan because I've already got it out, and just speed up the process a little bit. Same as any other meaty braised stew. We've done the bolognese, beef stew. Brown the beef off, break all the mincemeat up, and get a really good hard sear on it. You want a like really dark caramelised brown beef. Okay, where you gone? Right, so zip zip, browned off all our beef. Got a nice brown caramelisation going on. Take that out of the pan. Whilst we're doing that, you could have done this as well if you wanted to, you know, if you were thinking ahead like I am. I have minced, chopped, diced, and it'll be fussed. You can crush them if you want. 5 fat cloves of garlic, so I'll leave it up to you how much garlic, but the more garlic the better. And I've also diced up, kind of small, but still kind of chunky. We're going to cook this for ages, so it's all going to break down, doesn't really matter. 2 decent sized onions. It was kind of a small red one and a largish white brown onion, standard onion. Use all red, use all white, use all brown, use whatever onions you want. Shallots would work. Leeks, pretty much the only onion, and spring onions that I'd steer clear of. Kind of easy from now on. Should have a nice bit of fond in the bottom of that pan from the beef that you've browned off in there. Depending on how lean your beef is, you may or may not have a bit of oil in there. You want about a couple of teaspoons to a tablespoon of oil in there, so I just need a little splash more. Any oil's fine. Olive oil. Now you don't want this rocket hot like we were searing off the beef. We wanted it high to sear off the beef, but for the onions we are just going to slowly, from this point on, it's all a nice, calm, relaxed affair. We're just going to slowly cook everything for hours on end. Break everything down, get it all nice and caramelised. All your onion in there, and all your garlic in there. Decent pinch of salt. Help draw some of that moisture out of those onions. Go in with a bit of pepper now as well. And I'm going to give a bit of a scrape up on the bottom of that pan, get some of that fond up, because that's just more flavour. Once those onion and garlic have all sweated down and they're all starting to get a bit jammy, they're just all nice and soft and like you really want to put them in a hot dog. I go back in with all our beef and any constituent resting juices that are seeped into that pan. All that can go in there. It's all meaty, beefy flavour. Right, for now we just want to add a few cooking liquids. So I've got here proper beef stock, about half a litre of that. That's going in there, and not one, 2 tins chopped tomatoes, nice good quality chopped tomatoes, and half of one of those tins of water. And we're also going with about more tomato, probably about 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, our chilli powder, hefty pinch of salt. Don't want to go crazy with salt at this stage though, because it might be, as I've said multiple times, you might have ended up with some salt in your stocks. Tomato probably shouldn't have too much salt in it. Salt, yeah, no salt in there, but you never know. A couple of bay leaves, just because bay leaves go in everything that you slow cook. 1 big bay leaf, 2 big bay leaves, and why not have a little in there as well. We also want dark brown, is it? Yeah, dark brown soft sugar. We're going to go in there with about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar. Honey would work, although I like the molassesy sort of flavour you get from this. You can use molasses if you have molasses to hand. And that's everything. The only other ingredient we've got left is kidney beans. A debate as to whether beans belong in a chilli. You talk to a Texan, they'll say no, but I think they do. So this is my channel. We're going to have some kidney beans in. But because those kidney beans are pre-cooked in a can, if we put them in now, by the time this is ready, they will just turn to mush. So they're going to go in about an hour, half an hour before this is done, just to warm through. If you were using them, you know, dried kidney beans that are the hard dried beans, you would have had to have soaked them overnight beforehand, but they could go in at this stage because they'd need a couple of hours to cook anyway. So, stirred that all in, got that all mixed up. Now, if you want to cook this on the hob, by all means, do so. I am going to put it in the oven, because that way you can forget about it. On the hob, you need to come back every now and give it a stir because it's a localised heat source on the bottom of the pan. Put it in the oven, you just forget about it. I like to keep a check on it. After 2 hours, I'll have a look. All we're going to do is we're going to bring it up to a boil on the hob. Once it's bubbling away, stick it in a 150, 160 degree oven. Come back in about 2 hours, have a look at it, see how it's doing. But at that point, I'll come back. That's probably when we're going to put the kidney beans in. But we're going to tidy up and I'll see you 2, 3, 4 hours. This is one of those jobs you can just start it at 9 o'clock in the morning and just leave it burbling away in the oven. All on a ridiculously low heat on your hob. All day long. Is that off? Right, so I had to have a battery change. I think I lost some footage. We have one big lovely pot of red. So I left it in the oven for about 2, 3 hours, I think. I just pretty much forgot about it. Came back, it started to get a bit dry, so I splashed in So what I did was I put in the can of kidney beans and I half filled that up with boiling water and chucked that in there just to wet it down a bit, just so there was enough moisture in there to keep going for it so it didn't boil dry. Then stuck it back in the oven for, I was sitting there for another hour, but really it probably only needed 20 minutes, half hour to warm the beans through. But you can see all that beef. There's a few discernible larger chunks left over from the beef shin, but it's all gone. But it's this lovely, dark, vibrant, rich red colour. That's good to go. You can eat it however you want. So it works quite well in taco shells. It works any which way you want to, really. It's essentially a nice, hearty beef, spicy beef stew. I'm going to have it the classic way, with a decent portion of just nice white rice. Portion of rice, portion of red. Get some of those bigger chunks. You can fish out those bay leaves if you want, but as long as you just remember not to eat them, I think you're going to be fine. And there you go. I mean, you can put some cheese on there. You can put some fresh cream, not fresh cream, creme fraiche. Bit of guacamole, crispy fried shallots. There's a whole host of things you can stick on top of it. There's a whole host of stuff you can put it on top of. Put it in jack potato. Put it in a taco, in a burrito. Have it with tortilla chips. Do what you want with it. But it is absolutely super rich and delectable, and it's the best chili con carne out there, really, if you ask me. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put that there. So, wonder if this video will get 1,000 views as well, eventually, maybe one day. But I'm not in it for the views, I'm just doing it for a laugh. So, but, if someone did want to sponsor me, I wouldn't say no. Yeah, I'm going to go eat this because I'm starving hungry. I think, like I said, I've got another video that's coming up to 1,000 views. It's an equipment one. I haven't done an equipment video in ages. I did one for knives, one for frying pans, and that was it. And I meant to do one for like saucepans and casserole dishes and all that sort of stuff. But I think I'm going to do another one that's just sort of like the things that I use in the kitchen that I can't do without, like good wooden spoon and tongs and things like that. You know, the old adage, like, comment and subscribe if you could be so kind. And, give it a cheer, all that stuff. Other than that, I guess I'll catch you. I guess I'll see you when I see you. Be good. Can't be good, be lucky.